Hi everyone, I'm back with another video, and yes, it's another leotard, but this one is super cute because look at these little cold shoulder sleeves. I am dead. Okay, so I got this pattern from Create Kids Couture, I think is their name. Sorry, my phone is always on the verge of dying, so we just lost our nice little lighting, but I will link this pattern down below for you all, and I actually really want to see what this looks like on my daughter, so I will try to include that as well in this video. If not, I will include a picture somewhere somehow. But that's it, and if you are enjoying these videos, be sure to subscribe and also give it a like, tell your friends, tell everybody about these videos. I'm so weird, I'm sorry. Okay, let's get started. Alright, so here is the pattern pieces that I printed out. We are going to have our front piece and our back piece, just one of each like this. I already went ahead and taped it up. And then here is the sleeve. You'll notice that it only comes with a long sleeve. I decided to do a short sleeve for today. And all I did was fold it right underneath this little line right here. So if you also want to do a short sleeve, there's that little hack, or you could do the long sleeve version if that's what you want. Please don't judge my cutting, that looks so bad. Okay, so I'll show you the pieces. I already have them cut out. For the front and back, we want to cut them on the fold. So you'll fold your fabric and cut them. Another tip for folding fabric is you want your stretch to go this way. So the sides, you'll notice it has a little stretch depending on the fabric that you're using, but the most stretch should go side to side. Same with the sleeves. And for this pattern, we're going to use the leg bands. Now the leg band measurements will be in the cut chart of the pattern. I forget what page it's on, but if you look, it should be there. And this said that for size 2T, you need 12 inches by 2 inches, so that's what I did. I cut these little strips for our leg bands. Okay, now since this is a Leo, this is the Leo version, but there's also a cute little crop version. You'll notice on the pattern it says crop cut line, so you'll just cut your pattern pieces at the bottom there, and then you can add a nice little band at the bottom. I think that version is super cute as well, but we're doing the Leo today. So the first step that we are going to do is put our Leos together, the front and the back, like this. Okay, so first things first, we are going to sew the sides of our Leo together. So bam, line them up, and then we're going to sew like this. And I believe I forget the seam allowance that it calls for, sorry, but I'm just going to do a 1/4 seam allowance. I'll check the pattern just in case. Okay, so it calls for a 3/8 seam allowance, but I'm going to be using 1/4 just because I wanted to be a little roomy, have some room to grow. So again, you're going to sew down the sides. So there's that. Sorry if you can hear my neighbors, they're all at the pool right now. But next we are going to open up our Leo and kind of place it like this. I know it looks weird, but we just want to get access to this little armhole right here. And what you are going to do is take your sleeve piece next, and we are going to sew it down the sides. So right here, and take your other sleeve, also right sides together, and sew it down. So we're going to sew both of them. So now that's what our sleeves look like, and next we are going to open it up with the right side of the fabric showing or facing you, and we're just going to line it up with the seam of the inside of the Leo like this. And you'll notice that it doesn't reach all the way to the end. That's because that's what's going to create the cold shoulder effect. So what you're going to want to do is sew it just following along the inside of the sleeve. Let me grab a clip. So I would just clip it right at the seam like this, And then all you're going to do is start here, so, and go all the way to the other side and stop where your sleeve stops. So you're just sewing the length of the sleeve like this, okay? So here we are at my serger. These are my settings. And all I did was I placed it the start of where the sleeve goes right before the needles. So we're just gonna wanna make sure that the needles catch just the starting point. Take off our clip, and next we wanna make sure that our seams line up. So I'm just making sure that those look okay. And then you're gonna want to see where the end of the sleeve is at, and that's gonna be your stopping point. So you do want to go a little slower here. Okay, and then I'm just going to serge off. And it's okay if you want a little past too. Okay, I went ahead and attached both sleeves. Now we are going to sew our shoulders together, so just make sure everything lines up. Sew these two together, and we are also going to sew the crotch together. So sew it right here. Again, this pattern calls for a 3/8 seam allowance. Next, we are going to take our leg bands and sew them right sides together at the edges right here. So that's what that will look like, and same thing with the other. So right here and right here. Okay, here they are done, and next we are going to add them to our leg opening. So what I like to do is pin this side. So first you're going to turn it into a little tube like this. Sorry, for some reason my messages popped up. Okay, you're going to turn it into a little tube like this, and then you're going to align the seam of the leg band to the seam of the crotch. So those two together. And then I just like to take it and stretch it to the other side as evenly as possible and pin it there. And you could even take it into 4 parts instead of just 2 if you're not as comfortable with leg bands. But today I'm just going to do those 2. Now what I like to do is start at the second clip. So when you go to sew, I'm going to start here. Again, this calls for a 3/8 seam allowance, so I just set it up to go before that second clip, and we're going to line it up to the edge right here. Take your clip off, and then the only thing you want to do is make sure that everything is lining up. So all 3 layers should be meeting up by the raw edges. And I'm just going to show you how I'm going to finish this. So I only have one hand, so I'm gonna let it fudge up a little, but make sure that you're lining it up. And then before I get to where my seams should be at the crotch and the leg band, I take my clip off and then I just sandwich them where I think they will line up and really press down. And then keep going. And then I'm just going to go until I cut off everything and everything starts lining up. So you can see that around here is where it starts straightening out, and that's where we want to go. And then I'm going to keep going just until I get that little part off. Turn off my knife and go about another 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to serge off. And then just clip my little tail here. Whoops, the whole Leo just fell off. And then I just like to take the little edge of the tail and just pull. A little knot is gonna form there, and you can even tie it again. I have attached both leg bands now, and next I'm going to show you 2 different ways to finish this. Well, that's 4. 2 different ways to finish this. So the way in the pattern, the way that it explains it in the pattern is you take this opening and you fold it in and you hem it. So you fold it in and you hem it and you sew all the way around, right? Same for the neckband, or the neck hole. It just says fold it in 3/8, sew all around, and hem it. And then the sleeves to hem it. I am going to hem the sleeves, but to show you a different method, I'm going to use a little scrap of fabric, the same fabric, and we're actually going to add bands to this. Now, I don't know about you, but I love bands. Like, if I can band anything, I will. So I'm going to take my trusty rotary cutter, and all you're going to do is lay this, is take a scrap piece of fabric. First grab your scrap piece of fabric, fold it in half so you have a little fold line, and then place the opening at the edge like this, and that's going to tell us how long this needs to be. And then I like to take 1 inch off, so without cutting your actual thing, I'm just going to make a line there, and then I'm going to take 1 inch off. And then I want this to be pretty small. We don't want it to look too bulky. So I'm only going to make it about 1.5 inches wide, right? So it's the length of the opening, but it's only 1.5 inches wide. And I'm just going to take the same piece and go over. So now we have one for each side of the sleeve, right? You can even use the same method for the neckband. So I'm just going to make sure this is even. You can even use the same method for the neckband. Just take your neck opening, find where the edge is, take 1 inch off, about there. And for neckbands, I like to do 2 inches. So I'm going to cut it at the 2-inch mark, and then we are going to add it as a neckband to here. But it looks like the neck hole is a little high, so this is totally optional, but I actually prefer when adding a neckband that it doesn't look like it's too high up on the neck, you know, like when your kid is wearing it. I don't want her to feel like the neckband is suffocating her. I'm just going to take off a little tiny bit. This is optional, totally optional. I'm only taking a little bit just to give more room for this neckband. Okay, so now what you want to do is attach this neckband here the exact same way that we did our leg bands. So I'm going to do the neckband the exact same way. There's that. And I'm even going to do the bands for the arms the exact same way. This is just a little circle as well. So we're going to follow the exact same method that we did for the leg bands with these 3 holes right here. I'm racing against the sunset, but hopefully this little angle works out. So I'm going to show you the arm section just because I feel like it might be the trickiest one. I already did one. Here's what that looks like. Hopefully you can see it. And I did the neck. I used a 3/8 seam allowance for the neckband, and I made sure to place the seam in the back. And for this armhole, we are going to use a 1/4 seam allowance. So I'm just going to sew the little edge here. At 1/4. Okay. Next, I'm going to, like I said, same as the leg band, I'm just going to make a little loop like this. Next, I'm going to take the seam and I'm going to line it up with the shoulder seam. So here is the seam, or yeah, the shoulder seam. I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to use a clip, and you can use as many clips as you want, but I'm just going to clip it once right there, and I'm going to stretch it to meet the other end. So I'm just putting it in there and stretching it to see where it goes. Okay, there we go. So this is the part that I'm going to hold, the second part. But if you have clips, you can start wherever you want. Next, I'm going to make sure that everything lines up. And again, pull it up at the edge of my knife. So we're doing 1/4. I turned off the knife. Next, I'm going to make sure that everything lines up. And when you get to this point right here, you just want to straighten it out. See how it straightens out? Okay, let's go. So I'm almost meeting that point, that little corner looking thing. And then I'm just going to try and make sure that these seams line up. I'm also making sure that I'm stretching evenly. So now we're almost to this point. Again, just bring it up and straighten it. I'm going to clip my tail, bring up that little piece, and keep going. We're at the start. I'm going to keep going for another 1/2 inch. And I'm going to serge off. So I just like to push it towards me. And I'm just going to take these little threads, and just make sure that it forms a nice little knot there, and then just clip it. Here is the finished product. I went ahead and hemmed my sleeves. You could also add bands just the same way that I showed you how to get band measurements for everything else. You could add bands to the bottom of your sleeves and basically have yourself a whole banded Leo. But this is what I chose to do for mine. So that is it. I really hope you all found this video helpful. If you have any further questions, do let me know down below. But that's it. So hope you have a good day.